Welcome back. We're doing a huge series on bug out bags. This video will be focusing primarily on shelters, from the ultra lightweight to the more comfortable, luxurious options. Personally, I like to have two options, the lightweight and the comfortable option. Now, the reason why I like to have the lightweight at my disposal, if I have an emergency and I have to leave right away, I usually have something in the car ready to go. Doesn't take up much space, it's lightweight, there's no excuse not to have it. Now, if we're in a situation where we have a little bit more time to prepare, we're gonna be going out for a longer period of time, at that point, I have option B, which has a lot more comfortable options, more space. So we're gonna look at some options, but before that, it's really important to understand how long are you gonna be needing your bug out kit. So if it's a quick, I need to get out of the office, go to my location, maybe you can opt for something more lightweight, compact, quick to use, off you go. Now, if we're looking at something that's bigger, like a flood situation where you might have to evacuate your property for a couple of weeks, a couple of months, maybe even longer. Now you need to have a lot more kit, but it doesn't necessarily mean it has to be a lot bulkier. So through this whole series, we're gonna look at all the options that will suit your needs. Things to consider as well is who is with you. Are you alone? Are you two people? Are you with friends and family? How old are the relatives or friends? If you have toddlers or the elderly, the speed at which you might be walking might be slower. So you need to think about these factors. How much kit do you need to carry with you if maybe it's going to take longer to get across your journey? So there's a lot of factors here, but we're going to head over to some of these bags, and through this video, we're going to talk about everything in greater detail. So on this option, this is one of the lighter options. We're looking at the Gemini by the company Ortvox. Now, Ortvox produced a really simple yet effective Bivvy bag. It's a one person. And what I like about this is it doubles also as a poncho. So David's going to be showing right now how the poncho features looks like. So the other great thing about this, David, if you can just show the aluminum coating inside. So inside, there's a really thin aluminum coating, which is ideal for heat retention. So even though it's thin, it's going to keep you decently warm. Now this Bivvy only weighs 10 ounces or 283 grams. Ultra lightweight. There's no excuse not to have this in your bug out bag, in your vehicle. How does it feel, Scotty?
It's good, it's very light.
Yeah.
Feels maybe a little bit on the flimsy side, so you'd want to be careful with it. I don't think it'd be good for an extended period of time, but you can definitely feel the heat reflecting back at you from that lining. And
I'm sure a lot of you have just spotted, it obviously says help on there. So, you know, if you're in an emergency situation and you need to get someone's attention, having that up, or if even a helicopter is flying over and you can get that, you know, obviously, there we go. We can show that really well. You can get someone's attention and obviously get rescued if that's what you want. Thank you, Scotty, I appreciate that.
Not a problem.
So the next option we're going to be looking at is a military blizzard sleeping survival bag. Now this option is quite lightweight. We're looking at about 18.6 ounces and 530 grams. Now this offers really good thermal protection. It's a bit noisy, it's not the nicest, I know, but in terms of a situation where you need to survive, having something like this is better than having nothing at all. So Scotty, if you don't mind getting in this so we can show how it works, pretty straightforward. So something like this isn't too expensive. You can get it online, and at least, you know, it's compact like we saw with the Ortvox, and it's pretty effective, isn't it, Scotty?
Yeah, it's very warm. You can feel how much insulation there is. I like up the end here. It's got a slight rigidity, so it actually holds it off your feet, so you get maximised sort of air inside there, insulating you. Very noisy. You wouldn't want to spend an extended period of time in it, but I think in an emergency, you can definitely feel how much heat this retains for you. And again, it's got the foil lining, which reflects that right back in there.
Brilliant. Thank you. So our next option we're going to be looking at is the military bivvy. Now with the military bivvy, this is built to be quite durable. It's a single, we'll just wait for Scotty to get out of the crinkly. There we go, thank you. So with the military issue bivvy, we're looking at durability here. It has a single layer of Gore-Tex, so in terms of waterproofing, it's quite decent. But obviously, the other models we're going to be looking at have 2-3 levels of Gore-Tex protection, which makes it that much better. But with that also comes a little bit more weight. So Scotty, if you want to get in this one, obviously you're quite well versed with this one with your camping background and basic military introduction. This option is about, well, let's see, 940 grams. So we're starting to get up there with weight, but it's still quite compact. Like I said, it's more rip-proof. It's a cheaper option than some of the options we're going to be looking at by OR or Sierra Designs. How does this one feel for you?
It's good. It's very comfortable, actually. It's got a very sort of soft inner lining. Doesn't have that thermal foil layer that the other ones have, but I think the added thickness adds a bit more insulation to it. I know personally that these bags are very durable, so they do pack down a little bit larger than some of the other ones, so they'll take up a lot more space in your pack, which is one thing to consider. But in terms of waterproofing, they are good enough. It's got that single layer of Gore-Tex, but generally it will keep out most weather that you run into.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also they're quite roomy. You can fit your bag in there as well if you haven't got something to cover up your rucksack. You can put them down the end, so you've got a lot of room down the end there.
Yeah.
Or whatever, either side of you, there's room for things. Because obviously in the military you're meant to have your rifle in there with you as well.
Yeah, a lot more kit in there. So.
Yeah, all in all, pretty good bag. Room for a pillow as well.
Yeah, well, I'll add that in. Just because you're bugging out doesn't mean you don't have to be comfortable. I have some back problems sometimes, so actually having a foldable pillow comes in handy for a better sleep. So, and these come packed into like a very, very small dry bag, about this big. So, comfort is okay. This is a little luxury I like to pack with me, and like Scotty said, very comfortable.
One other thing I'd add about this bag, just while we're on it, is it has a drawstring, which you can, if I just lie back, you can pull tight around your face, which still leaves room for the weather to get in, unfortunately. Slight design flaw there, but some of the other options, as we'll see, have a net and holes to keep that off your head.
So Scotty, we'll move on now to the Sierra Designs Gauri Bivvy. Now this one, again, we're getting a little bit heavier. This is about 652 grams, or 1 pound 7 ounces. This one, we're stepping up now, aren't we? We have some lovely features in here. We obviously have the mosquito netting. Let you get comfortable in there. So we have a hoop design here. It's a half hoop, a little bit lower than what I personally like, but we'll be looking at another option that for me I personally prefer. But we have a low hoop here. We have the mosquito netting. We have secondary Gore-Tex layer here. And obviously, if you're someone that tends to feel more claustrophobic in something like this, then you can obviously have it with the netting off, the top layer off. But in the evenings, obviously as the midges come out, you'll probably want to have the mosquito net on top. But a great thing is you don't have to completely isolate yourself in the pod. You can just basically open some of the air valves on the side. So have this covered, but still have some air coming in through the sides. This may or may not be for everyone. Obviously, it depends on your level of claustrophobia. I mean, in terms of product, it's excellent. But I think there's one option above this that is one of my favorites. What are your thoughts on this one, Scotty?
Yeah, I think I agree with you in terms of claustrophobia.
Yeah.
Personally, I think I'd be okay with this bag, but you can sort of feel a little bit hemmed in, especially with how close the neck can be to your face. Although the pole does offer an advantage to the military bag that we looked at just then. It does keep, you have a bit more headroom. So if if you put your head on one side, you can kind of feel like you're more in a tent than you would with some of those other ones. But yeah, all in all, I mean, you can feel the quality of it. It's very light. I'd say it's quite breathable as well. So yeah, I think it's definitely a step up.
Good.
Yeah.
Perfect. So the next option we're going to be going to now is the OR Advanced Bivvy. Now this has the hoop design, but as you can see, the hoop is much higher up. And this is something I personally prefer. Now it's up to everybody's personal choices, but for me, feeling a tad claustrophobic in the Sierra Designs option, the OR Advanced Bivvy is a little bit more ideal for me personally. So the Advanced Bivvy weighs 34 ounces without the poles and 39 ounces with the poles. That's about 964 grams in terms of weight. So again, we're going up a little bit, but in terms of durability, Gore-Tex protection, that hoop being a little bit higher, I'm personally happy to carry something a little bit heavier for the sake of better comfort. If you want to hop in there, Scotty. So we'll explore some of these designs. Obviously the netting is over here, and I'll help you zip in. So the poles are lightweight but incredibly durable. I think the zipper's on your side.
Yeah.
There you go. So what's great about this obviously is you can just push the hoop down and relax in an open space. But when it comes time to going to bed, you can just literally move it into position, zip yourself in with just the mosquito netting or a full complete enclosure. Yeah, we'll just get you in there. There we go, perfect. So once Scotty gets out of there, we'll get his feedback on how it feels in there in terms of space, breathability, durability. Are you okay in there?
Oh yeah, very snug.
Yeah, good. So I'm going to open you up, unless you can open yourself up. Is that okay? Here we go.
I think you should be all right.
Yeah. There you go, yeah. Fantastic. And welcome back. So, what are your thoughts on the OR?
This is definitely my favourite so far out of all of them. You have so much more room with the pole, the double pole system. You've probably got about 6-7 inches above your face when you're in there, so you definitely feel like you're in more of a tent. So sort of slightly nicer climate inside as well. Doesn't hang down on you so much. Very breathable, and it just feels a lot sturdier.
So the next one we're going to be exploring is the Nemo Go Go X. Now this one is a unique design. It's a bit controversial because compared to, for instance, the OR, the Sierra with the half hoop, we're actually looking at an air pump design. So the pros and cons against something like this is obviously pros, lightweight, easy to use. You can just blow into it, hand pump, and get the air out when you're ready to pack. The con, obviously, if anything were to go wrong, your pump breaks, there's a puncture in the actual material, unless you brought a patch kit, which I highly recommend. We covered in another video about having various patches in your patch kit. If you don't have that, you're in a little bit more of a sticky situation. So I tend to go with poles, because if a pole breaks, you can usually fix it or find a substitute with twigs or whatnot. But it is an interesting option to look at. So let's have a look at this one. So this is the Nemo Go Go X. It weighs 2 pounds, 8 ounces. So now we're going a little bit heavier. This is 1,134 grams. As I was mentioning, you have a connect pump, which helps inflate the air beam arch, which we'll show you inside. And obviously you can see there's a lovely fly feature on here to protect the actual bivvy, which is a great added feature, to be honest. So the pump is pretty straightforward. you just, you blow into it and you hand pump when you've connected it into the arch. Scotty, you want to do me the honors and hop on in there? It's obviously a great option of having a fly attachment. You can use it or not, so depending on how reserved you are, conservative rather, about weight, you can just pack the Bivvy if you want, or have the two together. Are you in?
Yeah.
Alrighty. So, you know, for an arch with air, it's incredibly sturdy. I mean, the material isn't cheap. This is quite strong. As I mentioned, if anything were to go wrong accidentally, there's a puncture, you're in a bit of a pickle. Scotty, how are we in terms of breathability, space, claustrophobia, all of that? Talk me through it.
Well, in terms of claustrophobia, it's pretty good. I think you've actually got a little bit more headroom in here than you do with the OR one. Breathability is also pretty good because you've got the side net for the mosquito net here, so you don't actually have that dangling in your face when it's zipped up.
Yeah.
So it actually feels a lot more like a one-man tent than a bivvy bag. So it's got that sort of added bonus. Breathability as well is really good because you've got the fly sheet instead of one piece of fabric. So you've actually got air coming in from underneath that all around you.
Brilliant. Well, that concludes the bivvies, and we're going to move on to the slightly more luxurious options, which are the tents.